Hey,
Hey,
Stan. Hey, hey, hey.
hey, that was easy. Usually the cafes I'm usually it's the last one to join. But
Tonight you popped on, you sent me the request, I added you, and here we are.
here we are.
I don't know
I,
why it works sometimes and why it doesn't the others.
yes. I am ready.
As
Yeah.
many times as you've done this, I don't know why we're still having issues from time to time.
Yeah. Well, good. Good. And
Well, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Feeling good. Got to see a couple doctors this week. I got a follow-up surgery a week from Friday for my knee replacement. They didn't it's the wound didn't close all the way. The incision part of it. So they have to do what they call wound irrigation, something with the skin. And I don't think it's that serious, but have to get all the clearances again and had to go to pre-op testing over the weekend. And it's just a lot of juggling of things, but it's all
Did I
good.
see you posted that? Did you have like a pre-op for your other knee?
Yeah, no, it's the same knee,
Oh,
but
okay,
I had a
okay.
pre-op for that. And I probably shouldn't have put that up because all I got, I don't know, it was 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning, which I know you're used to, but that's an ungodly hour for me. And I was at the hospital already. And I was in the waiting room. So I said, all right, I'm just going to check in on Facebook. And I said pre-op, but then I got all these people like, oh, are you okay? And all right. And I felt bad. I was like, oh, I should have done that.
That's why I asked because I saw
Yeah,
that and I figured you were
yeah.
checking in on your second knee already.
No, I hope to get that done. I don't know, before the end of the year or early next year. So getting there,
Well,
getting there.
hopefully this follow up is no big deal.
Yeah, I don't think so. So, but we'll see. Whoop,
Have you started your PT, like actually walking and stuff yet, or no?
wait a minute. Of course, I just knocked off the volume. There we go. All right. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Have you started like your PT?
Yeah, been doing twice a week physical therapy.
Yes, Carol. My nose again has acted up, so I apologize. It was either this or a band-aid. I was trying to figure out which is worse.
I didn't notice it until now.
Thank you, Carol, for pointing it out. Now everybody can watch.
Yes. You've been busy. You Saturday night specials and Sunday night specials and Pierre from France and wow. Don't you
He's
ever go out and do anything? I mean, wow.
This has been a lot. I've had 5 things in the last 3 days, but like I didn't do anything for a long time before, and I'm going to be busy again next week. So, um, have you had a chance to listen to the more of the music since we did our
Yeah.
cafe?
Yeah, I've been taking in slowly, and I like it all. I mean, there's a few here or there, but I really think this is a great box set. It's just lot of interesting things, very different genres, and there's nothing I find where I'm like, oh, turn this one off, go to the next song or something, and maybe Faithless, a couple on there, the movie soundtrack that never got made. That one's all right, maybe some there, but overall, it's well done. It's I've been walking a little bit. I've been for the first time I'm walking without a cane. I had to go with a walker, then a cane, which I've been using a cane for like the past year and a half because both knees were bad. And so I've been walking without a cane. So when I walk up and down the hall of my condo here, I put on the AirPods and I listen to some of the Bruce stuff. So it's I'm happy with it, and I'm very impressed.
I'm about listened to 4 albums all the way through. I've kind of worked my way through a couple of the other ones,
Mhm.
but yeah, on Faithless, Where Have You Been? Where Are You
Yeah,
Going? Came on the other day, and I was like, really? Like, this is. But
yeah,
other than that, like, they're all very good.
yeah. No, nice job by Bruce. Nice stuff.
A couple of those, I think he could have, like, whatever. I'm not criticizing him. He could, again, he's free to do whatever he wants, but a couple of those, I think he could have put out, and they but during those 90s, like, yeah, he wasn't like silent, but he was worried about things and fans reaction and how they were dealing with the music, so I could see why he was hesitant to put some of that stuff out. But
Yeah,
I tell you what, many artists out there would step over their mother on the way out the door to have one of those albums or one of those songs.
yeah. I mean, I didn't know the name of the album, the one September Kisses and all that, and Dinner at 8. That's what I was listening tonight. That's just magnificent. Although it always seems though like if you look at the lyrics, and I'm not really a big lyrics person, just like I like, yeah, Badlands, and stuff like that. But it's like there's a lot of I don't know, cheating going on, dinner at 8, like they used to have dinner at 8, but then he cheated or something, and some of the other ones too. It's like, oh, there's some drama here going on in the background. So
Yeah, Sunday Kind of Love. That's
yeah,
really good. Like, wow, this is
yeah,
really good stuff here.
yeah, very good. I'm looking at your wall. You got you want to come over and hang up my stuff? I gotta uh
We are getting more and more every time we talk, or I see you getting
oh
more and
I
more
have
framed stuff.
I've been finally trying now that I can move around a little better after the surgery, trying to I must have 60, 70 framed pieces I have no room for.
Oh
And then
wow.
if you know I saw I put up a thing on Spring Nuts, just newspapers, magazines, other things. I just it's too much. And it's like so I put up a thing for people I don't want to ship anything. Just I don't want to put it in a box and have to lug it to a post office and all that,
Right.
even though they pay the shipping. It's like I invited people, come here, bring a big box, take what you want. So that's where I'm at.
Well, you just had some stuff framed recently earlier this year, didn't you?
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff. I don't know if you can see here.
I can't remember what you had, but you had a couple nice
I
pieces.
got a whole Bruce wall. Is that showing?
Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah, I got a whole Bruce autograph thing. A lot of this stuff, like that greatest hits, I just had. I finally got that framed in years. And some of these other ones, then behind me, and then down there, I got some more Bruce. I got a Cher piece. I got an Alexandra piece over here. Got more Bruce. I got more Bruce. So it's just, I don't know.
Well, don't feel. I'll give you something to put it in comparison to. Like I was feeling bad about my wall,
Yeah,
but I have more that I need to hang up over there and start a new one. My dad has a friend who collects like old tin, soda, beer,
right.
like from the 40s, 50s. He's a collector. He sells. He's constantly out buying and selling. I said, Tim, how many signs do you have up in your house? And he's married, has kids, grown kids. He says he has 520 signs up at his house. I'm like, oh my God, I have to come visit you just so I can see that. So until you have 500 plus, Stan, I think you and I are doing okay.
All right. Well, when you're here for the serenade, maybe you can stop. I don't know if you're talking about him, but you can stop by here too.
Yeah.
It's like I live by myself, so I like showing this stuff off. So it's like, and framing is expensive, as you probably know too. It's like, it's not cheap, not cheap.
Oh, a lot of the stuff I just bought frames of like Hobby Lobby
Yeah.
type stuff, but like some of the stuff I had nice print framing done.
Mm, yes.
You live in Ocean Grove, is that right?
Ocean Grove. Southside Johnny lives about 4 blocks from me. He grew up
Oh,
in Ocean Grove, and
speaking of Southside, he was on my friend Fred and Pam's flight back from Milan last week.
mhm.
I said, was he up front or back? He was like, no, he was way in the back in coach, so he got
Yep.
no special treatment. But he
That's
said he
his.
looked good. The pictures I saw, he looked good. He looked like he
Yeah.
was rested and happy. And
That's his lifestyle. He lives in a real tiny house here in Ocean Grove. You'd be stunned. I mean, not even an average size house, just a tiny house. But I guess he's satisfied. So you know, it is what it is.
well, his record, he doesn't have to take up space with his record collection because that's in Gary's basement. So,
Right, right. But he's
um,
doing good. I don't think he'll be playing again, but I think his health is good. He looked good.
I heard a couple of rumors like, oh, Southside's itching to play again. I'm like, I don't know about that. He just,
No, Jean Mickle spoke to him in Italy. She was, oh, yeah, you ran into her. I think you might have been at the same place at Nikki Germain's book signing.
yeah.
And Gene spoke to him a bit, and he just said, "No, he's doing good, but he's not going to play again." So it's too bad, but
Hey,
it's a great
he's
career.
he's one of those few artists that he realizes that maybe this isn't good for me, and
Yeah,
it's time to check out instead of pushing it and going longer than he should.
yeah, yeah.
Hello, everybody. We got Alan Newhouse checking in. They're on a cruise out in Alaska. Alan's
Ooh,
checking in. We got Emily up in Minnesota. Bev is here. Claudia's here. Hello, Alice. Alice, to answer your question, I believe the music is everywhere. Spotify,
Yeah,
Apple Music, like it's what on every streaming service you have access to.
yeah. I've been listening on Spotify.
Did you buy the box set? I can't remember
I
if
did
you.
not. I did not. You know what? I'm like most people. I don't have a record player, so I went by vinyl. And I don't really want to buy a record player and start doing that all over again. And CDs, you play it once, it sits on a shelf, and it's like, and then the book I'm sure is great, but I'm going to look through it maybe once, twice, take a deep dive in it, and then it's going to sit on my coffee table. So I don't know. It's just more not. I know the price is high, but it's just more. I don't need more stuff. So it's just, but I love listening to it though on Spotify. So
Well, don't. I wanted the booklet. That's like the only thing
yeah,
I want physically is the booklet, so I could look through that because the tracks booklet is fantastic.
yeah,
The tracks one, but I bought the reissues like when they remastered them
yeah,
and like whatever 10 years ago.
hmm
I have never listened to them once,
yeah,
and I think to your point, I looked through the booklet like once, and I haven't touched it
yeah,
in 10 years.
yeah. I got the remaster here. It's sitting on my shelf over here. The remasters. So yeah, and but I think it's good. If you have a record player and stuff, vinyl is in, and that's what's going on. What are we going to talk about, Ryan? What are we going to talk about?
Well, let's get started. It's 7:03. We've let people come on here. Well, somebody like you and I've talked many times. You've been on the stream many times. We've done the cafe many times. But somebody was like, "You should interview Stan." I was like, "Shit, I hadn't even thought about that." So I thought that's a pretty good point. You brought up some good things that a lot of people know you from Bruce, but they don't know you as Stan Goldstein outside of Bruce. So I think you've had a pretty interesting life. So I just thought it'd be cool if you want to talk about yourself and your upbringing and the kind of the life of Stan outside of Bruce.
Well, I grew up in Neptune, New Jersey, which is the town next to Asbury Park. Ocean Grove, where I live now, is technically part of Neptune too. And when I first saw Greetings from Asbury Park, for those on the East Coast, they might remember there were two Guys stores, TYOGUYS. They were these department stores, and they had a record department. And I remember walking in one day and saw Greetings from Asbury Park, and I'm like, "Who's doing an album about Asbury Park?" I was 12. I was 12 or 13, 12 at the time. So I'm a little too young for the steel mill era and the upstage and all that. But I had pointed out to my sisters, like, look at that, someone's doing an album about Asbury Park. That was my boardwalk. I used to go down and everything and learned a little about Bruce. But my upbringing, my mother got a subscription series to the Garden. I still call it the Garden State Art Center. It's the PNC Bank Art Center. It's the amphitheater on the Garden State Parkway when you're headed down to Asbury Park. And used to get 6 shows. Like acts used to play a whole week. They would play Monday through Saturday. And my mother got 6 shows throughout the summer. And I remember going on. It's called Liberace. Saw Tom Jones, saw the Beach Boys, saw Herb Alpert, the Tijuana Brass. Um, just a lot of different shows. The Carpenters, which I always, I just found the program from that. They used to give you a free program too. That was 1975. But
Wow.
so I don't know. I enjoyed seeing music a lot, and I had two older sisters who were into music, and I remember my oldest sister. She was playing the Woodstock soundtrack in the fish tier. I remember, I was 10 years old, like, give me an F. I was like, ooh, whoa. I'm hearing
Give me
something
an
happy.
F.
So, and then my other sister was into Bruce, Maxine. She still likes to remind me that she was into Bruce right when Greetings and the Wild the Innocent came out. And she used to play the Wild the Innocent over and over and over. And I used to complain. I was 14. Oh my God, you're playing that same guy over and over again. Oh, geez. I could still hear the E Street Shuffle starting over and over. So she loves to still remind me of that story. But that's sort of how I got into Bruce. Like I remember, all of a sudden he's singing about Madame Marie, which is right on the boardwalk here. And the casino, the boys from the casino dancers. That's where I played pinball. For those who don't know, it's not a gambling casino. It's the Casino Carousel House, which will be in the movie Deliver Me from Nowhere.
So the
And that's,
casino is on the back end of the carousel, right? The skeleton of the
yeah,
building that's there.
yeah, that was all known as the casino complex. There actually used to be uh, a performance space, smaller than Convention Hall on the beach. They tore that down about 2007.
Hmm.
But it's where Bruce filmed the Tunnel of Love video. If you watch him on stage, he's in this dilapidated building. But I remember seeing Three Dog Night there in 1974. That was one of my first concerts. And we sat on the floor. So I was 14. And all of a sudden, all my friends are pulling out roach clips. And I had no idea what that was. I was like, whoa, this is a whole different world to me. All my friends are doing this illegal thing. And then I remember I was like, they were kidding me because I couldn't remember a roach clip. I said, what are those things called? Bug snatchers? They were making fun of me. But that was a whole new thing. But yeah, saw a lot of different music. Saw Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons at Asbury Park's Convention Hall. Jay and the Americans were the opening act. So I saw Frankie Valli a couple times. So there was a lot of
So
music opportunities around
so
here.
it sounds like your mom was into music, your
Yeah,
dad not so
my
much,
dad,
or
yeah, they went to shows. My mom likes seeing shows.
like
It's
Broadway shows or
no,
plays.
just like local performances and
Okay.
singers stuff, Liza Minnelli and stuff like that. That was someone else I saw at the art center. Uh,
Wow.
then as my mom got older, my dad died in 1985. He was young, but so I took my mom. We would go to Vegas a lot. Her favorite shows were drag shows. So she said, "Look, can we see it? Can we see a drag show?" She loved seeing the drag shows. So,
To each their own, you
yeah,
know.
no, they were
You like
fun though.
Liberace? It's not that big of a step to
Yeah,
drag shows.
sure. Barry Manilow, yeah. Which Howie Chaz is a Barry Manilow fan, I found out too. So, yes, but he won't play Copacabana at the Serenade, he says. So,
Alice is asking, did you see Chubby Checker?
I never saw Chubby Checker, no. I,
Alice, I saw Chubby Checker back in like early '90s. The town I grew up in, which is down by St. Louis, it was one of the first cities to have a casino in Illinois. Gambling was legal in Missouri, but not Illinois. The trick was, and it's changed since then, but the trick was it actually had to be on a boat that was on the water, and the boat had to leave the dock and make this little joke, run for a half an hour up and back. But they used to have some really great stuff, like all the old school stuff. Chubby Checker was there. I actually got up on stage and danced with Shirley Reeves from the Shirelles.
wow.
The Flamingos were there, or what was left of the Flamingos. Uh, Bill Haley's Comets. There was probably one guy that played with Bill Haley at one point in time. That kind of crap. But yeah, I was lucky to see some of those original like rock and roll doo-wop guys, which was amazing.
Yeah, I'll tell you a story. This was 1977, and Steve Miller was big. You're a little younger than me, but Fly Like an Eagle and Book of Dreams and all that was out. In the summer of 1977, he was playing the Nassau Coliseum. Now, this was before there was an arena at the Meadowlands, which they don't use anymore. So it was sort of Madison Square Garden and Nassau Coliseum. Going to the Nassau Coliseum, that was like going to California for us. That was like, got the maps out, like, it's Long Island. So a whole different world from going into New York City. Anyway, went to see Steve Miller. And I remember before the show started, this was around August 8th of 1977. They had on the screen the coming attractions. And I remember it said Elvis, August like 19th. And to my friend and I, who graduated year, I was going between my junior and senior year of high school, and he had just graduated. Elvis was an oldies act. That was like, even then, that was like Chuck Berry. We weren't impressed. We were like, oh, Elvis. We knew Elvis, but it was like, oh, Elvis. Not
Wow.
the classic that he is, but he died, I guess, a week later or so.
Yeah,
And they
August
never had
16th.
that.
So there was about a 10 show run that he was going
Right.
to head out to on the day he died. And
Yeah.
a friend of mine was in a restaurant and sent me a poster and it said Elvis. It's very similar, like
Yeah.
August 20th, 1977. I looked at it. I'm like, okay, I've seen something similar. I'm like, wait a minute here. And I was like, my mind went into a
Yeah.
mind warp. Like, whoa, like what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
So
And the
yeah,
thing was, I guess my point is we weren't really impressed. He was Little Richard. He was Chuck Berry. He was Chubby Checker. It was like, oh, Elvis, okay, he's just this old guy. He's 42 years old. So, but that was something. I used to go to Madison Square Garden, saw Peter Frampton, I remember on the, oh God, I'm in You tour. It was after the big live album. Then his follow-up was an album called I'm in You, which was a popular song. And I remember you used to have to mail in for tickets a lot. I don't know if people remember that. Even some of the Bruce shows at Madison Square Garden. You had
So
to
wait, it wasn't about going and standing in line. It was about
There
mailing
was
in
some,
requests.
but a lot had mail order. So you would send in with a self-addressed stamped envelope and a money order, and you got back whatever you got back. And I remember Peter Frampton, when we were all the way up, what they called the blue seats at Madison Square Garden, we were already all the way up top. That was August of '77 also, I remember. Or it might have been '78.
Why were they called blue seats? Were they literally
Because
blue?
the garden now it's changed, but the garden used to be red seats were the great seats. All the levels were different color. Then it was orange seats, then yellow seats, green, and then blue up top. And so the Ranger fans used to yell, "Red seats suck," because that was it all. But that's been changed. But so I always saw concerts. I always went to a
Wait,
lot
was
of
that your
shows.
first show at the Garden?
First show at no, my first show at the Garden was June of 1977. Pink Floyd, or no,
Oh,
July,
wow.
first week of July on the Animal Store.
Wow.
And talk about an experience. I was again between my junior and senior year of high school, and there were so many. They were like selling nickel bags of pot. The guys around, and then there was so much. There was so much fireworks going off. You know, that was the thing. They don't do that now, but people setting off firecrackers and stuff. I know
Wait,
Bruce had an issue with that.
fans were yeah, I
Yeah,
remember him almost
yeah,
getting poked in the eye and he got
yeah.
pissed. So
And that was
fans would set off bottle rockets and stuff?
yeah, and
Wow.
firecrackers and stuff and throw them. And that was, you don't see that at all anymore. But back then, and Bruce got hit New Year's Eve '78 into '79, and then even you hear him and other like bootlegs and stuff saying, "No, stop." And that was an issue. How do I remember all these dates? I don't know. It's parts of my life. I see shows and
He's the Rain Man. He's the Rain Man of music.
uh, not
So wait a minute, just to back up a little bit. So when you were, in the mid '70s, it was New York, the Garden or whatever there, and then there was Long Island. There was nothing in between.
well, Philadelphia too. That was about an hour and 20 minutes from here. I saw Billy Joel. I remember December of '77, which had been my senior year in high school. Elliot Murphy opened up for him. I remember that. That was at the Spectrum, the old arena there in Philly. And I saw Bruce there in May of '78 on the Darkness tour.
Is that the
Also,
first time you saw Bruce was on Darkness?
I saw Bruce since 1976, August 2nd,
Oh,
1976, at the then Monmouth Art Center, which is now the Count Basie Theater. Or
the Chicken Scratch tour. You saw him on the Chicken Scratch
I
tour.
did. He played 6 shows in 7 nights, and I remember going, and it was like my sister had seen him before, and I remember going. There was a bunch of high school friends there and stuff, and it was like the people on the album came to life on stage. Like I had seen pictures of them, but there was Clarence all in white. There was Steve with the hat and dressed up. There was Bruce. It was like, it's hard to explain. It's like these action figures came to life right in front of me. And that was wild. He played 6 shows in 7 nights. And I'll never forget going to what was then Monmouth Shopping Center. It's now Monmouth Mall. There was a record store. And I just saw the ad in the paper. You didn't know anything in advance. So I went down and could I drive? No, I don't even know if I didn't have a license until someone took me down. I remember a record store, and they had a whole stack of tickets. Like, which night do you want? And I only got the one night, not going, no. How much were the tickets? Probably, I have it somewhere. It's the ticket stub still. I think $5, $6 at the most. But my real Bruce calling came this date I remember, May 13th, 1977, again at the Count Basie. It was a Southside Johnny show. And Southside Johnny got sick. And there was supposed to be, and Southside Johnny was making it big. It wasn't as big as Bruce, but the Jukes were starting to really make a name for themselves. And I remember, like everyone, I went to Neptune High School, which is where Southside Johnny went, and Gary Talent and Vinny Lopez, Bam Bam Bigelow, if you're a pro wrestling fan. So anyway, there was supposed to be 2 shows on May 12th, which was a Thursday, and 2 shows on May 13th, which was a Friday. And I didn't go May 12th. And then the next day in school, this girl came up to me, Stan, we saw Bruce Springsteen last night. I was like, what? It was the Southside Johnny show. She goes, no, he got sick. So Bruce and the whole East Street Band played, and Southside Johnny's band played, and everything. So I'm like, oh wow, really cool. So they canceled the first show on the Thursday night, so they had the second show, and then the Friday night I had tickets for the late show, and that's when I always say I got my Springsteen calling that night. That's when it was Bruce and Steve did the Jukes songs, but you could just see Bruce had this presence. And this is before Darkness, even a whole year before Darkness came out. I think the lawsuit had just gotten settled. But Bruce had this presence on stage like, wow, he's up here. Everyone else is down here. No disrespect to anyone, but
Right.
this guy's got something. And Ronnie Spector was part of the show, too.
Oh, wow.
He played, I think, 4 songs, Say Goodbye to Hollywood, and she recorded with the East Street Band. And she wore this low-cut blouse. So all us guys, we're 16 or 17, every time she dipped, we're like, trying to catch a view. So that was something. And but there's just bad bootlegs out from that show. It's too bad it never got out, but that's it. And then finally, when they were finished, Bruce and the whole East Street Band came on and played songs. So you had Bruce and Steven doing the South Side songs. And then Bruce and the East Street Band came on. And I remember they did the second show, they did Thunder Road, and they did Your Love Is Lifting Me Higher, the Jackie Wilson song. And that's when I walked out and just said, holy, this guy's incredible. Yes, I know what my sister was talking about. And I got that more that night than I did in 1976 on seeing the East Street Band. So
that's wild. I didn't realize that. I guess I had never heard that he played, that Bruce basically stood in for Johnny.
Yeah.
And him and Steve did the Juke show, and then Bruce and the band did their show. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And you saw Ronnie Spector on the same night. You saw the Jukes, the East Street Band, and Ronnie Spector.
Yeah, it was something. May 13th, 1977. That date
at the Count Basie?
At the Count Basie, yes.
Wow.
Which is still going strong. I was just, who did I see? I saw Diane Krall there last week. So,
did you see a Carole King tribute show?
I did. I saw Carole King, Carly Simon, and James Taylor at Axelrod Theater in Deal. It's about a 300-seat theater. Great show. Really, because all the songs, and the guy like James Taylor sounded exactly like James Taylor. So that was enjoyable. I like a lot of different music. If you looked at my Spotify playlist, you'd be shocked at what's on there. I love Broadway shows, music. I love the crooners. That's why I think I like the Bruce album. I saw Sinatra several times. I was lucky to see him. I've seen Tony Bennett a dozen times. So yeah, I always love. I still love the big band stuff and everything too. And, pretty great taste. Pretty wide taste. So I love Bruce too. But I guess
let's back up a little bit. You were born and went to Neptune, which is north of Asbury, correct?
West, really, of Asbury.
West, okay.
When you get off the Garden State Parkway, you usually go through Neptune to get to Asbury Park.
What did your mom and dad do?
My dad owned a liquor store in Neptune, and my mom didn't really work. She helped him with the liquor store. So, it's something with your parents, you never really realize till after they're gone how hard they worked for you. You didn't appreciate it. Like, I had 2 older sisters, and I know my dad paid for their college, and I knew he was doing it for me. But at the time, I didn't realize how hard he had to work to do that. And it's later on in life you get an appreciation for that. It's like, I had a gas credit card. Not that gas was a lot of money then, but I remember he gave me an Exxon credit card. I never had to pay for gas. And it was like, I thought that was part of, I got it. And now, I don't know, you look back and it's just, you appreciate it. But we went to a lot of sporting events too. And we used to go to baseball games all the time. And
Mets, Yankees, Phillies, like what?
Yankees, Phillies. A lot in the 70s, Mike Schmidt, Greg Lazinski era, because Philly was so much easier to get to even now, Yankee Stadium and City Field, the traffic is just always so bad. Philadelphia was just so easy. You go over the Walt Whitman Bridge and you're right there. But used to go to Mets games, Phillies games, Yankee games. My dad, a lot of the beer distributors had tickets because they sponsored the team. So they would give my dad tickets. I remember we were like front row behind the visiting dugout at Shea Stadium and Yankee Stadium. We had great seats and stuff. So, and I always tried to get autographs. I still have all my autographs from them, baseball autographs and stuff. But
Things have
that was
changed now. You can't get autographs during a
yeah,
game really, or before even during batting practice. You have to
yeah.
like sign like they used to.
And now, yeah, everything's so expensive. But no, my dad, we did that, and then I went to college, St. John's University in New York. Uh, I was
You lived
never,
on campus.
yeah, though they didn't have dorms then, so I lived off campus,
Okay.
and it
Where,
was
like
a
in
whole
Manhattan, or like where in New York?
Queens,
Queens.
Jamaica, Queens, not far from Kennedy Airport.
Okay.
Actually, not far from City Field either. And it was so I had to get housing off campus. So I rented a place and stayed with a couple other students. And I had a real introduction to Queens when you're from Jersey. They broke in my trunk the first week and then broke in again and again and finally stole my car my junior year. So you go outside, it's like, I think I was parked right here. So, but I was never good enough to play sports, but I was in high school. I was a statistician for the basketball team, the soccer team, and the baseball team. And then when I went to St. John's, I started with the school newspaper. So I don't know if you ever heard of Lou Carnesecca. He just died within the past year. He was a legendary basketball coach there. And I majored in athletic administration. And that's right, Norm, the Redmen, not the Red Storm. They were the Redmen, but they had to be politically correct and change the name. But I covered the team for the school paper, and I went to school. I also covered other sports. I went to school with John Franco, who pitched for the Mets and the Cincinnati Reds.
Oh, wow.
Frank Viola, you might have heard of. He won the
Oh,
Cy
yeah.
Young one year. They were in my classes. Chris Mullen, I went to school with. So some of those, but that was my education. I always kid, a good
Did
Jewish.
you get your degree in journalism?
I got my degree in athletic administration.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I always kid, a Jewish kid at St. John's, the largest Catholic university in the country. So, but I met, it's interesting. I met a lot of people who were like, we were in this program, athletic administration, and I met a lot of people just like me. Some might remember there was a show on ESPN well over 10 years ago, probably 15 years ago, called Stump the Schwab. And that was one of my best friends. It was a trivia show. And
Oh,
Howie,
do you have like a goatee or a
yeah,
beard? Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. I
always wear a
remember him.
different jersey. He was one of my best friends, and he he ended up at ESPN as the director of research, and then they gave him his own TV show. And so he was one. I was the best man at his wedding. He passed away, unfortunately, a year and a half ago.
Oh, wow.
But that was another one I went to school with. And so out of St. John's, I
Well,
got
hang
an
on. Just hang on. Hang on.
Sure.
Two questions. Why St. John's? And I guess you had enough exposure to the city that it wasn't a big deal for you. But like for me, I was thinking that'd be a big transition for you. But maybe since you had been there
No,
so
I
much.
was used to the city. I like going in the city. I said I used to go to concerts at the Garden, Madison Square Garden, and see a lot of games too. So I was used to the city.
So
Uh,
why St. John's?
they had athletic administration program. I wanted to work in sports.
Okay.
I wanted to work in sports, and there weren't that many schools. Now a lot of schools have athletic administration. So, and learned to take the subway a lot. I had one class which was really cool. It was with the New York Daily News movie critic. Her name was Kathleen Carroll. And each week the class was at a private showroom in New York City at a different one. And they'd give us the address. So I'd just take the subway in. And we saw a different movie like a month before they were released.
Mm.
And Faye Dunaway sat in one of our classes with us. Milos Forman sat in one of our classes. A couple other directors. Peter Jennings or Tom Brokaw sat in because we would see these movies and sometimes these other people would come in and watch with us. And I remember Faye Dunaway was sitting in one of our with us watching and stuff. So it was kind of
Wow.
neat. We got to see these first run movies like a month and a half before they came out, and we had just had to write a review on it and stuff. So that was kind of neat. That was one of the advantages of St. John's, being in the city and stuff like that. And I covered, like I said, I covered the basketball team, so I got to travel a bit with them. And then the athletic administration program had internships. So I originally interviewed with Major League Baseball. And I remember going to the baseball offices in Rockefeller Center. I was so impressed. I didn't get that internship. So I was really disappointed. But the dean at the time said, all right, we'll get you in at the Knicks. And I was like, all right, and so I interviewed with the Knicks, and they liked me, and they took me on as an intern. And I could type. And I know everyone could probably type then, but back then I could type well. And I got the attention of the general manager, a guy by the name of Eddie Donovan at the time. This was 1982. He goes, I might have a position for you. So all of a sudden I had my dream. I was working with pro sports. I was working at Madison Square Garden, 22
Wow.
years old, and working for the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. So that was exciting. And then Dave DeBusschere, who you might have heard of, he was an NBA Hall of Famer. He played for the Knicks championship teams. He came in as my boss, and I worked with him. And I was with the Knicks from 82 to 87. And by the end, I was doing their travel arrangements. I traveled all over the country with them. I was living the dream. I was 26 years old and traveling around with the Knicks and going to LA and going to, Sacramento. Not that Sacramento's great, but Phoenix, and just all over the country, all paid for and all expenses paid
So
for.
your official role was your assistant to the GM or
Yeah,
in GM's
administrative
office?
assistant. Then my last year there, I was like the traveling secretary. And I remember I would take the train. I never made much money, but I would take the train up the North Jersey coastline. The train that goes from Asbury here goes right into Penn Station, New York City, which is right below the Garden. So I would just walk upstairs right to the office. And I remember every day, like walking in, like, and seeing the sign, like, I'm working at Madison Square Garden. Like, wow, wow. And Bruce never played there when I was there.
Wow.
He never played there. I was there 6 years. Never played there. He did afterward. The year after I left, he played there. And I
He
did.
never played MSG on the Born USA run,
No, he
or
played 10 shows at the Meadowlands. But
wow.
then he played 5 shows to close the Tunnel of Love tour at the Garden in May of 1988. But I was already gone. And but we used to get tickets to see shows. I remember going to see, and it was easy because we were staff. We had to pay for them, but we had access to like great seats, house seats, I guess they would call them, not on the floor, but right on the side of the stage. Saw Madonna, I saw Bob Seger, saw Elton John a couple times. I remember the Beastie Boys opened for Madonna. That was kind of cool. So, and just a lot of Huey Lewis came up to our offices one day. I remember that. You never know who was walking the halls there too. Like I remember Curly Neal of the Globetrotters walked by and waved in our office one time. So you never know. And there were, I was never a big hockey fan. A lot of people, but a lot of the Rangers were around all the time. All the girls liked all the hockey players and everything. So, but I had a good 6 years
So
there.
when you graduated from St. John's, did you move back to Jersey and you
Yeah,
okay.
I never made enough. I was still living at home because I never made enough. I think I started at $150 a week. But
Wow.
they paid for my train. They gave me a $200 a month stipend to pay for my train. So, but and then even toward the end, I never made all that much there. But it was great experience and stuff. So, and then I even controlled. I see Norm mentioning tickets. I controlled the player tickets, meaning I'm the one who put their house seats in an envelope and distributed to them and everything. And I probably took I had access to a lot of tickets. The Celtics were big then, and the Lakers were big then. Like if players from other teams needed extra tickets, they would come to me. Magic Johnson needed tickets and stuff. He was like, Magic's like, can you call this girl and just tell her you leave a ticket? So he gave me a number. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar needed a ticket one night, and they pointed him to me. So I met with Kareem, and I'm like, I'm meeting these idols of mine. And it's like Michael Jordan, when he first came in the league, always needed tickets. And I met with Michael a lot before games. I would sit down with him and go over like all the needs. And he paid for everything. And I knew his agent well, and a woman who worked for his agent would always say, Michael's going to need 10 tickets. Can you pull them for him and then sit down with him before the game? So I would get Michael, either I'd sit in the locker room with him or we'd go in another room. I'd say, all right, these are your two best tickets for your top person. These are courtside. This is this. And then one of my biggest mistakes ever, after a Bulls-Knicks game, I think it had to be 1987, Michael gave me his game-worn sneakers and signed them for me.
Oh, wow.
And somebody I knew, I told that, and they said, I want them. And they gave me $500 for them, five $100 bills. And now they'd be worth thousands and thousands of dollars.
Hey, at the time, $500 is a lot of money. So
Yeah. But I got to know Michael a bit. One of my best friends who played for the Knicks and played for the Bulls with Jordan, a guy by the name of Bill Cartwright.
yeah,
You know, Bill, yeah. Yeah, Bill's got a restaurant still in Highwood. And Bill used to live in Highland Park, so I'd spend a lot of time there. And I would see Michael there too. And I have about 3 or 4 pieces signed by Michael, which his autograph is like 4 figures. Anything signed by Michael is incredibly high. But now, I spent a lot of time seeing the Bulls championship teams of 91, 92, 93. I would go out and see Bill and stuff. So I'm still best friends with him. We're still in touch all the time. So
very nice.
yeah.
Is he coaching now, or is he doing
He
anything?
coached the Bulls 1 year, didn't do well, he got let go. He's out. He went to college at the University of San Francisco. So he now works for their alumni department. So he's back there, but he still spends time in Chicago. Like I say, he's got Froggy's Restaurant. Anyone out up your way in Highwood, right by Highland Park. So that was kind of cool. But going out with him, you know, this is when the Bulls were like, you know, on top of the world. It was like going out with Bill. Like we couldn't really go out. He get mobbed everywhere. You know, he's 7'1", and it was like I loved it. It was exciting. But it's amazing, and I'm sure Bruce gets this a ton. How rude people can be too. It's like, you know, Bill, we're sitting there eating and like people just come up and shove something in your face. Don't even say excuse me. And I remember I was just shaking my head and he looked at me, he goes, you wouldn't handle this as well as I do. I said, I don't think so. No. So,
I thought it was funny, like over when in this last tour, you know, some people that aren't Bruce people, they called me and they're like, "Hey, did you see that Bruce was rude to those people?" And I'm like, "No, no, no, no. You don't understand what was going on. Those guys are not fans. They're scalpers. They're hawks. They're signature hawks. He knows who they are. He knows who the fans are. Those guys have been chasing him all around. He just had enough of it, and he just said, "Hey, I'm
yeah,
not signing anything. Go away." He was not being mean to the fans, so
no.
stop it. Stop it.
You know, Bruce is, you know, a major A-list celebrity and is probably one of the best autograph signers of any major A-list celebrities. You know, I'm in Facebook autograph groups. I've always liked autographs. The big thing now with autographs, are they real or fake? And you got to get them certified and stuff. But he's a good autograph signer. You know, look at Broadway. He signed a lot, you know, and I have a Facebook group, Bruce Springsteen's Authentic Autographs. So we compare samples and people say, is this real? Is this not, and stuff. So, but then.
So what happened? What happened? Why did you leave the
Well,
Knicks?
they changed general managers because the team was so bad. And one general manager came in and let like 6 of us go in the front office. So we didn't have a big front office. Now these teams got like 80 people working. We had like 8 people. That was it. So, but I got let go. That was August 17th, 1987. I remember that date. And I didn't know what to do. I always liked newspapers. I had worked part-time at the Asbury Park Press all through college. Actually started there in high school, my senior year of high school. So I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was really devastated because I lost my dream job. I was 27, and I never made a lot of money, so it wasn't like I could really get up and move somewhere. But I decided to go back into newspapers and the sports editor of the Asbury Park Press. When it humbles you, I'll tell you that. If you ever lost a job, you get really humbled. And I remember he just said to me, everyone liked you here when you were here. You did a great job. I'd be happy to take you back. And those words just mean so much. And it also shows never burn your bridges either. because even though I didn't work there, hey, I was working for the Knicks. I didn't need this Asbury Park Press anymore. No, don't burn your bridges. So I stayed there 5 years, and 87 and 1993, wrote a little bit, worked on the desk a lot. And then they bought a newspaper in East Brunswick, New Jersey called the Home News. And I started commuting up there, and it was one of the best moves. They offered me a job, and my sports editor at the press didn't want me to leave, said, you're making a mistake. But I took the job, and it was the best move I ever made. I met a lot of people who were very, very nice to me. I had an anti-Semitic boss at the Asbury Park Press, and this was 1980s to early 1990s, and comments made and stuff like that. And a lot of people weren't very nice to me. And then I went up to this other newspaper that the Asbury Park Press had bought, and everybody was so nice to me, and that means so much. It just was like a whole different world for me, and I met people, and it was like, wow, I can do this. It's like, because when people aren't nice to you, they challenge how, that you're incompetent or you may not be good enough to do things. So I worked for the Home News.
Sports desk?
Yeah, on the sports desk. And I worked the sports desk there. Oh, no, I actually worked with a news desk there. We were called paginators. We actually put together the newspaper. We would get the pages on a screen and put the stories in and the pictures and everything like that.
So you were layout. Like I
Yeah.
studied journalism at Eastern Illinois University. Was one of the few
Mm-hmm.
daily newspapers in college, and I worked for the Daily Eastern News. I was a reporter. I worked on a graphic. So you were laying out the pages.
Yeah, and put them together. And it was very rewarding when newspapers were still big. I mean, it was nice. You put the paper together and got to see what was coming out the next morning and everything. And so I worked there. Then the Asbury Park Press bought another paper, the News Tribune, which was in Woodbridge, New Jersey. And they merged it and became the Home News Tribune. And then the North Star Ledger, which was the biggest paper in Jersey. If anyone ever watched The Sopranos, it was always the paper Tony got in the morning. And they started hiring a lot of people. And a lot of my coworkers got hired up there. And they were making good money. And it was a whole different world. And finally, in summer of 1999, I got the call like, oh, they have an opening. They're interested in you. And I interviewed up there and I got the job. And it was like, I had to commute to Newark, though, which is a good 50 miles from, I was still living down at the Jersey Shore. And I did have my own condo then. I was in Ocean Grove then.
Were Newark or further north? Or?
No, Newark.
Newark, okay.
So, and Newark also, it's better now, but, heard gunshots outside the window of the office several times, and walked out the office door one day. There was a stolen car chase going right by. Saw a couple of those. Just, it was the wild, wild west there. So it was a little scary at times. They had security at work, but it could be scary. But I worked for the North Star Ledger from 1999 till 2016. And as most know, newspapers sort of was great jobs and boom. And this combines with the Bruce story. I don't know the exact date on this, but it was July of 2008. There was a Bruce show at Giant Stadium that night, not MetLife yet. MetLife hadn't been built. And the Ledger announced that morning, that they were on life support. And they needed 200 people to take buyouts by 2 months or they were closing down. So this was 2008. And it was like, and I had a Bruce show that night. But the consolation prize is they used to do the lottery then for the pit. And I was number 4. So I got to be front row center. And I think my mind was elsewhere. But it was just from that point on, though, from 2008 till 2016, a good 8 years, it just was tough, meaning rumors that you're demising, they're going to do layoffs again, they're going to do buyouts again. If they don't get enough people, they're going to close, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. And I wouldn't wish it on anyone. And I stuck it out as long as I could. I finally got let go in, I was trying to think of it. I can't remember the date. The end of September of 2016. Or was it 2018? 2018. I did make it 10 years. So 2018. and I finally got let go. You saw it coming, though. It was almost a relief that it finally came. But I had a good 19 years at the Star Ledger, so that was good. That
Well,
was
one of
good.
my biggest regrets, and I've talked, I've heard from you, I've talked to many people. I worked for the Daily Eastern News. I had an internship lined up to where I would write for covering Illinois politics in Springfield, the capital, for the Chicago Tribune. So I would have been an
Wow.
intern for the Tribune. That probably would have led to a job with the Tribune. And being an idiot I was like, I had gone back for a fifth year, didn't know what the hell I wanted to do, and they weren't going to pay us anything. But like looking in hindsight, it's like, you idiot! Like, your parents would have helped you, whatever. But like, that's one of my biggest regrets. But then that was like '98, so I don't know how long I would have lasted, or if I would have even lasted, or
Mm.
whatever. So it's a regret, but maybe it was a silver lining. I don't know.
It was about 2005 when the newspaper started. Craigslist is what really affected them because it took all their classified ads away. They used to make, excuse me, a fortune on the classified ads. All of a sudden, Craigslist came along, and people were putting all their ads up for free on Craigslist and stuff. So, but between 1999 and 2005, I was on the gravy train. One year, I got 3 raises. I mean, I would go, the managing editor at the time would leave a brown envelope in your mail slot, and it would say, congratulations, your salary's been up to so much. Cheers. And I remember like thinking, I finally made it. I got let go from the Knicks. The press was a little rough. I had a good time at the other newspaper, but I finally made it. And that, boom, that came crashing down too. So it's another thing, like, appreciate your job, don't burn bridges, and you never know. You never know who you might need. And I just want to show one thing here. I lost weight. I put on this Bruce shirt. This is from 2003, the stadium leg of the tour.
Oh, wow.
I probably haven't worn it in 20 years. It probably was too tight, but now I've lost a lot of weight and I can fit into it. So
Great. Kudos to you. You've put in a ton of work, and you've done a lot of hard work to get where you're at. So
yeah.
kudos to you.
And then
Um, so where did somebody asked earlier? I think Emily asked earlier. Where did your tours and the book and everything kind of come into play here along the way?
tours came in 1999. Gene Mickle and I went to see, and John Cavanaugh, who some may know is a photographer, went to England to see Bruce in the start of the reunion tour. And we saw him in Birmingham. And the Badlands group, as some may know, we know well, and they took care of us, got us tickets. And then we saw 2 shows at the very old building in London. I can't think of the name. Earl's Court. Earl's Court. 2 shows there. And anyway, Gene and I did a Beatles walking tour of London, which was cool. And we're like, we could do something with Bruce maybe. And I've always been a tourist. Whenever I visit places, I like to see things. I mean, my first trip to Los Angeles was in 1981, and I had read Helter Skelter, so I wanted to see all like where the Manson murders were and stuff. So, and one time I was in San Francisco, I did a Patty Hearst tour. Remember Patty Hearst? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I went to see where she got kidnapped from in Berkeley, and I went to see, remember the bank she held up that time? I went to see where that was. I went to see the house that they found her in. I've always been a tourist. I like to see off-beat stuff. So anyway, Gene and I were like, yeah, maybe we could do something here. And we had, I've lived here my whole life, and we're both being journalists. We're very big on facts. We're not going to tell you something if it's not true. So we did some research, and we found, where Bruce's old homes were. Now it's pretty common, but back then it was a little, you had to like track things down a bit. And there used to be something, there was no Facebook yet. There was no Twitter or anything like that. There was something called the Lucky Town Digest.
I've
And
heard of that, but what
yeah,
was it? Was it like a web page or
what
something? Or?
was that you would send an email in saying anything you want. Hey, I'm looking for 2 tickets to this show. Here, I went to this show, and here's what I thought about it. And the guy would take all the emails, and every morning you would get email with 20 posts or whatever people sent in. So it was a digest. So it was kind of neat. That's the way Bruce fans kept in touch pretty much at the time. And Gene and I said, you know what? Let's Bruce played 15 shows, believe it or not, 15 shows in the summer of 1999 at the Meadowlands Arena. It was then the Continental Airlines Arena. They don't use it anymore. They
You
did
played
film a
15 shows consecutively?
little, yes,
Wow.
over, and it was all indoors. Then the next summer, that's where my shirt's from. He came back and played 10 shows at Giant Stadium that summer. So we had 25 shows here, right in Jersey. Anyway, during the 15 shows, there was a big thing. There was tailgating in the parking lot and everything. So Gene and I said, you know what? Let's do on this Lucky Town Digest, let's say we'll do a tour. We'll start at the Stone Pony. We'll walk around Asbury. Then we'll go to Belmar, 10th Avenue and East Street. People have to provide their own cars, but we'll print out directions. And then we'll go to Freehold. And we didn't charge anything. And we didn't know if anyone would show up. And about 60 people showed up.
Wow.
We're like, oh, wow.
And this is all pre-internet, pre-bullshit, pre-Twitter.
Yeah, well, there was internet, right? Yeah, but it was
But like pre-Facebook, pre-Twitter, like this, you're just running pretty much off the skin of your ass.
And I knew people were interested in what we had to say. And I really knew we were on to something. We were at the corner of 10th Avenue and East Street in Belmar, which I called the Springsteen fans' #1 photo op. And guy says to me, you got to give me 5 minutes. I was like, all right. Why? He goes, I've already run out of film. Meaning, that film wasn't digital or phones. He goes, there's a drugstore down the street. Can you just give me 5 minutes? I got to go get more film. This is fantastic. So it worked out well, and we did well. And then from there, we came out with our first book in 2002. It was right when the Rising Tour was starting. And the Rising Tour began in Asbury Park. There were 4 rehearsal shows at Convention Hall, and the Today Show came down here instead of Bruce going to Rockefeller Center. So we worked hard, and we got our first book out then. And it was, I don't know, it was a smaller book, but we got it done, and we were proud, and it sold out. We did another volume in 2004. That sold out. We did another volume in 2007. That sold out. And it just sold out of the 4th one, which we did in 2013. Because people don't buy as many books anymore. So I have none left. And Jean's like,
They're still available on Amazon?
What's that?
Are they available on Amazon?
I don't know if there's any left. They
Okay.
may not be. And I remember Jean wants to do another one, but I don't know if I have the energy for it. Even though I'm retired, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But we did 4, and we self-published. No one wanted to publish it for us. So we put out our own money and printed it ourselves. So the tours basically have taken off. I don't know when we really started charging for them. I guess 2002 or 3, and we got our own website, and they're private tours. People, it's in my SUV, unless I do the big bus tours, which you've been a part of or been late to be there, but we won't talk about that. But and I've just been getting a lot of requests lately. So it's almost, I don't know if I'm getting old. I may retire from that soon. I don't know. I enjoy it. It's nice meeting the fans, make money, but it's.
Wait, does Jean go with you when you do the
She
private
does
tours?
occasionally. She does some of her own too. Jean
Okay.
still works full time. Jean's a reporter for the Asbury Park Press. She's been with the press for almost 40 years.
Wow.
She's one of the veteran one of their top reporters. So she does, and we'll do them together, or we'll do them separately. But I try to do most of them, and have one Wednesday, one Thursday. I think I have next week. I have one Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We don't do them on weekends in the summer though. It's too crazy around here. So, and
How many tours, private and the big buses and the walking, do you think you've done? 200, 300, 400?
probably 1,000.
Oh my God.
Well,
Wow.
we're talking 1999 we started, so.
Still, that's 26 years. That's a lot of
26
tours.
years. Yeah, probably 1,000 over the time.
Norm said the first time I ever ran into Stan was in the Stone Pony bathroom dividing up stacks of cash after an Asbury Park tour with Vinny Lopez. It looked like they were dividing up a drug deal.
Norm tells me that story. Vinny was funny. Vinny comes on the tours, and Vinny's great. He makes money. And I went in the men's room, and Dawn, his girlfriend, his fiance, told me this story. Dawn said, Vinny said, oh, I saw Stan go in the men's room. I'm going to go talk to him. And he just said, "Hey, we're here now. You have my money." Not in a bad way at all. Not in a mean way.
Right,
Not
right,
like,
right, right, right.
yeah, not like, Goodfellas or something like that. It's just like, hey, it's just us. You have the cash. I'll take the cash now. And so I think Norm walked in and saw that. It was like I'm digging all this money out and trying to count it. It was like, yeah, it looked like a drug deal going down. So, but Vinny will be with us on August, what's it, 23rd, to Saturday. We have the tour again. Sold out. I'm sorry. I know it's sold out quick. I know people want to go, but can only do so much. And we have Federici's, the room upstairs again. So they only hold 50, 60 people. So can't go more than that. And
You're a popular guy. You and Gene are popular
yeah,
guys.
well, not to blow our own horns, but I think we do a good job.
You
We
did. I've said this before. That
yeah,
time that I mean, I don't know everything, but nobody
yeah,
knows everything. But
yeah,
you were telling me some shit that I had no idea. I had no idea that Clarence's place was right down the street from the Count
yeah,
Basie. You said some things I had no idea.
yeah. It's not there. They tore it down. But yeah, there's so we show different things, and the movie will be coming out, and I watch them film the movie, so I point out where they filmed the movie and stuff, and kind of cool. I've been contacted by a publicist at Disney who's putting out the movie. They may want us to do a tour. They may have press junkets coming in,
Hmm.
and they may want us to come to Asbury, or they're going to come to Asbury and want us to give a tour. Then I got another email from a place in London that's going to do a sweepstakes involved with Deliver Me from Nowhere. And the winner gets a trip, I don't know, New York, New Jersey, and they want us to do a tour for their sweepstakes winner. So there's some things that may work out with the movie coming up. So
Are you hearing anything? Like, are they going to do a big premiere at the Count Basie or anything?
I don't
Or
know. Yeah, I'm sure they'd love to. They can't at the Paramount because it's not open, like they did for Blinded by the Light back in
it
2009.
have to be at the Monmouth? It have to be at Count Basie? Like, I'm just trying to
Yeah,
think of anywhere else that they could do
it could
something there.
be. Even at the Pollock at Monmouth, that only seats 700. So and so I'll finish up. No, not finish up, but I'll just say. So after I got let go by the Star Ledger,
Yes.
I didn't know what to do, and I was a little between. Again, I had that sick feeling that I had in 1987, which you hope you never have again, of being let go of a job and not knowing what the future is, and being scared. And it's not so much that you're not. I mean, I had enough money to live, but it's more you feel like you're worthless. Like if you go out, oh, what do you do? Nothing. It's like you just felt like there was a mark on your head, like you're unemployed, you're nothing. So I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was scared, like, oh, I'm 58 years old, I got to start all over again and meet people. But then I found, just looking at things, there was magazines that cover funeral service right out of Wall Township, which is right here at the Jersey Shore. And I applied, and one of my old uh, workmates from the Asbury Park Press, who I worked with in the 1980s, was part of it. Again, don't burn bridges. And they hired me on the spot. So for 5 years, I worked covering funeral service and interviewing funeral directors and
Was that for the
cemetery.
Funeral Directors Association?
Yeah, yeah,
I
National.
told you I have an uncle who's
Yeah,
95. He owned 10 funeral homes down. My aunt worked for the Golden Rule, which was part of the Funeral
right,
Directors Association.
sure. Hmm.
She organized all the trips and stuff they used to do for the Funeral Directors Association. So I've got a long history of it. So when you told me that, I was like, whoa, like this is a
Yeah,
little too close for home.
yeah. I was very rewarding. People like, oh God, funeral service. Think about it. We've all been in funeral homes. They're very distinguished people, always dressed up, always professional. We call them the last responders. And I got to go to conventions. I traveled more with them than I ever did in the newspaper business. I went to Vegas twice for conventions. I went to Dallas for a convention. I went to uh, Baltimore, Virginia Beach, New Orleans. And, I mean, any of those, out there who do business trips, it's all paid for. But it is kind of cool. Like everything's paid for. All your meals, you go out to eat anywhere you want. It's paid for. Put it on the expense report. But you're working too. Don't get me wrong. It's not like a vacation. But I met a lot of good people in funeral service. I'm still friendly with some. One handled the presidential funerals. He did Jimmy Carter's funeral, and he handled Ronald Reagan's funeral and Gerald Ford's funeral. And he's a big shot. And I had to write a feature on him, and I was nervous, and he was very nice to me. And then he was happy when the article came out. And he's like, he calls me all the time still and everything. He's in Houston. So he always wants me to come to Houston and visit. And I did articles in cemeteries in different places. Big one out by UCLA in Westwood in California called Westwood Memorial Park, where Marilyn Monroe's buried. And he opened the door for me. His name's Bob Bedecker. And he's a big shot. And he opened the door for me because like normally they won't talk. And he's like, you want an interview with him? I'll get you the interview. And I got to interview like the manager of the cemetery and everything. And I know that sounds kind of like, oh, whoopee-doo, but they don't usually talk. And it was like, you can trust them. And I did a nice feature. And it's kind of cool doing that.
What
So
was
I
the
have
gentleman's name? What was the gentleman's name from Houston that you mentioned?
Bob Bedecker, or Robert Bedecker, Boetticher.
Is he the one in Houston?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
He runs the National Funeral Museum. I don't know if I have the name right. There's a funeral museum in Houston, and he's head of that. So, but it was
What was
very
the story
rewarding.
about Marilyn Monroe? Joe DiMaggio would send roses there every
That's true.
day or every year or
Yeah.
something.
There's this little cemetery. Anyone's familiar with LA, not in Westwood, not far from UCLA, and it's behind some office buildings. And there must be 100 celebrities in there. Natalie Wood is there. Um, Dean Martin is there. Marilyn Monroe is there. Hugh Hefner is buried interned next to Marilyn Monroe. Carl Wilson of the Beach Boys is there. Minnie Riperton remember Minnie Riperton, the singer? It's Maya Rudolph's mother, is there.
Okay.
Jim Bacchus from Gilligan's Island is there. I'm missing so many. Richard Dawson, who used to host Family Feud, is in there. It's Burt Lancaster is in there. It's just hundreds. The little girl who was in Poltergeist, they're here, who died at 9 years old, is there. And you just go, and it's just all these famous people. I think I said Natalie Wood, Donna Reed, Mr. French from Family Affair. It's like Florence Henderson is there from the Brady Bunch. It's just everywhere you look, there's a celebrity there. It's very cool. Yep. And Norm, yeah, Forest Lawn, that's another one. Big LA cemeteries too. So I'm a cemetery buff too. But
Tell them the oddest, your favorite story that you told me, or the favorite article that you've about the recipes.
The article I did, I found someone goes through cemeteries and some graves have recipes on them. Is this what you were referring to? And so she does like once a month where she makes something that she found on a gravestone that people who had their favorite recipes put it on their gravestones. So she did that. So when did I meet Obi? I had met Obi years ago. There's a club in Asbury Park called the Fast Lane, and it's now a parking lot next to Asbury Lanes. And it's right next to Danny Clinch's gallery. It used to be there. And for a period from 1979 to 82, Bruce hung out there and not the Stone Pony. And I met Obi there years ago. And I knew who she was. She was always very nice, but I never really, I don't want to word this the right way, got to know her where I was like, oh, you need tickets or anything like that, though, because she was the person. But I got close to Obi around 2002. I knew her boyfriend pretty well, a guy, Mark, and he liked sports. So we went to games, and Obi liked that I was nice to Mark. And the Mark, unfortunately, passed away. And Obi asked me if I wanted to go to a lot of shows with her. And it's hard to say no. Obi got in early. Obi had what only Bruce fans could dream of. Front row center at any show she wanted to go to, from Bruce Springsteen himself. He promised her that in the 1970s, early 1970s. And so I must have went to 20 some shows with Obi, and right up front, it's like, whoa, it was awesome. And just watching the interaction with Bruce and her was pretty cool.
For people that don't know, which maybe some people that are watching, can you explain who Obi was and their relationship?
Obi grew up in Long Branch. Saw Bruce play with the band Child in a park in Long Branch in 1969 or so. She didn't see the Castiles, his first band. Obi was a music fan. They said she used to wear the British flag, like for the Who and the Beatles and all that. And she saw Bruce and she told me, she said she saw this Adonis, and she, I don't know, fell in love might be a strong, fell in love with the artist, meaning she knew right away he was incredible. And she always wanted to see him play. And she would camp out to see him play when, wherever he was at the time, Steel Mill. And that's why she always appreciated fans who did the lottery or, camped out, because she used to do that all the time. And she always made sure she got up front, but she would go by in front of Spruce and Steeman in the corner. And she always said, those spots are for the fans who waited, because she used to do that. Anyway, when Bruce started playing in theaters, Obie said to him, so this is probably 1973 or so, Bruce, I always want to see you play, but now you're doing theaters. I always like to be up front. And he said, Obie, whenever I play from now on, you will always have the front row center two seats whenever I play. And he kept that promise her whole life.
Wow.
And even when they went to a GA, we went up and his security would let us in early. So we got to go in the pit before anybody else. And it was surreal. And I had a job, though. Don't get me wrong. It was quite the experience. But I had to stand behind Obie. I had a job because when Bruce would play down there, everybody wants to surge forward and jump up. And I always had to, protect her. Just stand back. And then she would yell at me. I'd be singing along, and she'd turn around. She goes, will you shut up? But great. Yeah, she passed away in 2017. Bruce was at the funeral service. It was in Asbury Park. He spoke. He gave a eulogy, which was really nice. Steve Van Zandt was there, too. She was very close.
Did she work for Stevie at some point
She
in time?
worked for Stevie. She worked for Bruce. Yep, she worked for Stevie. She worked for Southside Johnny also. So she had stories galore. She was great. I mean, and it was like, people, who may not have known her, but it's like, how people crowd up toward the front and everything. And it's like, it's Obie. And most people did, though. It's like, oh, yeah, it's Obie. We'll give her a space, So that was
Well, I
kind
mean, if you stop and think about it, it's like other than his mom, some family members, Tex and Marion Winter, Carl, she was like one of those people there from the very beginning.
She was. And she loved him. She was in heaven every time she saw him. It was phenomenal. I got to mention Alexandra before we're done. I know she's not watching live now. It's 2:30 or 3 a.m. in Sweden, but I know she was messaging me. What time is it going to be on? So I have to mention Alexandra. And I'll tell a quick, if I can, I'll tell a quick story about Alexandra when the first time I met her. I didn't really know her well. I had watched her live streams during the pandemic, thought she was very good. And she announced not announced, but Howie announced a show in 2023, September, that she was going to be playing Asbury Lanes, and Jake Thistle was opening up. And I was still working for the funeral magazines, and I was going to be in Las Vegas at the time for a convention. And I'm like, oh, no, you're finally coming here. I didn't really know her well, but it's like, you're finally coming here, and I'm not going to be able to see you. And she messaged back, which was nice. And then I said, do you have a ride or anything? She goes, I'm taking the train. I said, well, I'll pick you up at the train station. And I couldn't pick her up at the airport because I think I had a work webinar that day I was involved in or something. So I picked her up at the train station. Again, I really didn't know her well. And she comes off the train. I have pictures of this. She's just smiling. And it was like, she was so excited to be here and everything. And then we went out. I said, you want to get a bite to eat? And we went to this place in Avon called The Columns, which is about 2-3 towns south of Asbury Park, right on the beach. And we had a real nice dinner. And at the time, I was having the knee problems, and I told her I walk slow. And sometimes, and I'm not faulting, but I have some friends who I'll be with, and they'll just walk ahead of me. And it's fine with me. I don't want to slow anyone up. And it always bothered me if they're waiting on me or something. But so I always had to go at my own pace. So anyway, after dinner, we're walking back to my car, and I said to her, go ahead if you want. I walk slow, and go ahead. And again, I just met her, and she said to me, Stan, I am going nowhere. I am right here next to you, and I will always be right here next to you. I was like, oh my God, where have you been my whole life? gosh. And she knows this story because I tell it all the time and it's true. And I was like, wow, thank you. I still almost get tears in my eyes now and start like, crying then at the time. And I was just overwhelmed. Like, one of the nicest things anyone's ever said to me. And that's how she is. People know her and see her. She got you crying one time too,
Oh
Ryan.
yeah.
Remember
She
that?
the first time I ever interviewed her, we got to talking about our parents and
Yeah.
passing away, and I was not expecting that, and it kind of knocked me sideways. But
Yeah.
she and I had a moment. But that's I love her music, I love her
Yeah.
voice, but like she's just a very special human being.
She's a special human being. She's really, really something. And it's, I'm just like, it's not even 2 years yet. And I'm just honored. She invited me to Sweden last year. She played a show. She sold out a 600-seat theater where she had a band and did Bruce songs. And she wanted me to introduce her. And it was an honor. I went out and I kept it short and sweet, nothing long. Just, I think I said something like my first time in Sweden. I'm honored to be here. And I'm living at the Jersey Shore. I've seen a lot of Bruce cover bands and a lot of people play Bruce Springsteen songs. And I've never seen anyone do it better than your main attraction tonight, Alexandra Yardville. And that was it. She had this wonderful show. And so whenever she's
So is
here,
she? I know we've kind of talked about it. Is she definitely coming for the serenade, or what's?
let her tell
Okay,
you. I don't
okay,
think so. She'll get
okay.
mad. But I
Sorry, I
unfortunately
didn't mean to
don't think
put you on the
she's going to be.
spot, but I thought it was kind of
Yeah,
leaning
no.
towards the.
Unfortunately, I don't think she's going to be able to make it. But yeah. So, but I hope it's still not over yet. But
Okay.
she so we'll see. But she'll be back here again for sure at some point. Hopefully, light of day next year, next January, she'll be playing again, and she will be back. Probably American Music Honors next year too. So we'll get her back here. And yeah, let's. Oh, she told you no. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I don't think she's making it, unfortunately.
All right.
Yeah,
Uh, well, we talked a lot about you. Again, I think people know you just because of Bruce, but you have a very interesting. We share a lot of stuff. My parents owned a restaurant for 20 years when I was a kid. I was 3 years old, and they built a restaurant. My dad was a teacher. Decided, no, I'm going to go into business for myself. It's hard fucking work. I never want to own my own personal business like that. It's 24/7 and never stops. Like you said, you don't know how hard your parents work until you see it after the fact or you're kind of in their shoes, but they worked all the time and it never ended. The only reason they were able to go on vacation was because my brother Kevin was 9 years older than me. So like when he was old enough to be the manager and keep an eye on things, they were able to go away for vacation. Otherwise, we'd go somewhere with mom or we'd go somewhere with dad, but we never went as a family, like hardly
yeah,
ever. It never ends. So you and I have a very common background.
yeah. I could have had my dad's liquor store. I didn't want it for those reasons. And the sad part is, and it sounds like you went through a lot of the same thing. Um, but my dad finally retired in 1984. He was 57 and never took much vacation or anything like that, like you said, because it was always working. And then employees started stealing from him toward the end, and it was just got ugly. So he finally retired, and my mom and him were going to travel, and he died 10 months later of prostate cancer. So
Wow.
that's why I appreciate even more, every day. And my mom, I took my mom on a lot of trips that she never got to go to. So she went to Vegas with me a lot. That's why I was saying we always saw shows and everything. And so yeah, you appreciate it. And but you appreciate more what your parents did for you and stuff. And it's yeah, from the restaurant and thing, it's tough having your own business and getting away and trying to take a vacation. And it's funny, the little vacations we did take were during the Jewish holidays of all things. So I think it was my dad's excuse. Oh, it's Rosh Hashanah. All right, it really shouldn't work, but all right, we'll go to Niagara Falls. We'll park the car. Nothing big, but or go to Washington D.C. or something like that, or Gettysburg. I remember we went to. So, but yeah, but that's why I didn't want to own my own business. There were too many headaches, and some
It's so
people are all
cliche,
for it.
but like you think people own, oh, you own your own business. No, it owns you. Like it literally owns you
Yeah.
24/7.
Mm.
Did you guys have a ritual like when you were kids? Like Bruce talked about going to the sorry, Manasquan Inlet. I mean, did you guys have any kind of like weekly traditions that you would do together?
Um, Not really. My dad played golf Wednesdays and Sundays. I would caddy for him. That was one of my first jobs. I would caddy. I don't know how I did it. I carried two bags, double
Ooh,
caddy they called it.
double
But
caddy.
double
Wow.
caddy.
Two
Yeah,
bags?
yeah,
Damn.
56. But no, not really. Once a summer we'd go down the seaside here at the Jersey Shore, which is this incredible boardwalk with games and spinning wheels, and you win a whole case of not a case, a whole like 36 pack of M&Ms and stuff like that. But that was sort of our rituals, and going to shows at the Garden State Arts Center was part of it too. So, and baseball games and things like that. So
So
that's
other than being a cat, I'm always curious. I started working at the restaurant when I was 8. I literally got my first paycheck when I was 8 years old. I don't know
wow.
how they got away with that, but they did it. Um, so you were a caddy. What else, like small jobs, did you do before
I
you?
um I started my sophomore between my sophomore and junior year of high school and junior and senior year. My dad, he was a little bit politically connected. He got me a county job. The county, Monmouth County, they probably still do, had his summer jobs program. So where they put you in county parks and things like that. So I got a job at the golf course here in Neptune, Shark River Golf Course, still there. So I worked maintenance, but I had to be there at 6 a.m. I worked 6 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. And I used to ride my bicycle down the highway. There was no one on the road at the time and get in. And I don't know how I did it, but I did it. But I remember some nights still going out till 2 in the morning and somehow making it to work at 6 a.m. Couldn't do that now, I'll tell you that.
Was it like Caddyshack back then in the day when you guys were all up to antics and
A little bit.
misbehaving?
A little bit. We knew where we could hide under the trees and take a break for like an hour where we could see if the boss was coming in. And if we saw his truck come in, we're like, all right, we'll go this way. We had little things like that, but we worked hard. We worked hard, and so I think I made $2 an hour.
Wow. Plus
Two
tips.
dollars.
Did you get tips?
No, no, we were part of the maintenance crew, so I
Oh,
wasn't caddying then. I wasn't caddying then.
okay.
The caddying was
Gotcha.
before that, and but this was more maintenance on the golf course, cutting the grass and things like that. And so I remember the tough job was called the pit. There was this like down part, and you had to like put the lawnmower back and forth, and it was like, oh, got the pit today. Oh no. So, but worked hard. Always work. I've been working since I was 14, I guess. So that's like when I finally retired last year. I retired from the funeral magazines, March of 2024. It was like, ooh, I don't have responsibility anymore. You realize you've been working for, I don't know, 50 years or so. So it's kind of nice. And now I do the tours. I have the tours still. And I had a nice 401k that I never touched, which grew and grew and grew. So I'm happy with that.
My dad was 81 when he passed away, but he grew up very poor on a farm here in Illinois. My grandfather was like a itinerant farmer, sharecropper, really. But he worked hard his whole life. But because of that, he could never sit still. You know, we owned the restaurant. He had 100 jobs. He taught. He worked at a convenience store part time, even there at the end when he was teaching. But then when he retired, he couldn't sit still. He'd
Yeah.
go and substitute teach a couple days a week. He'd work at the convenience store. Even at the age of 81, he was still doing a part time job for a used dealership down the road from us in my hometown, and would drive cars or run to the bank and get titles and stuff. But he just could not sit still.
Mm.
I've worked hard and long enough. It's like when it's time, I'm done. Like I'll be okay with not working.
You'll still be doing this though, Ryan. Saturday
Of
night
course.
shows. You're up at 7 a.m. Like I say, that's why I see you because I usually get up at 7:30, and I'm just getting up and I'm getting on the internet, and boom, Ryan Hilligoss is live. So, and then you got your same crew usually, Liz and the others there. Then usually I'll pop in every once in a while to say, and then it's like to see what you're talking about or your trivia question and everything. But I don't know how you do it. Don't you sleep? It's like.
I guess this is my since I never became a journalist. I wish I had become a journalist. Like this is my form of being a journalist.
Okay.
I'm talking to people. I'm interviewing. I'm getting information. I love talking to people. So, um,
You're good. You're good. I'll I'll say it. I'm not going to mention names, but I listened to a podcast recently, and the podcaster talked about himself as much as he talked to the person he was interviewing. I was like, let's hear from your guest, okay? It's like, I don't need to hear about you and what you like. I know it's your show, but and there's a little bit of you, but he kept talking over the guest and everything, and it was like, ugh. So no names. I won't mention names.
No names.
So hey, you know
Well,
what? The older you get, the more you can bitch and moan about things too. So, you know. So
so
but
I guess one more question I have for you before we're done here. So I mean, everybody knows you from Bruce and all the things that you know about Bruce and the tours and the book and everything, but like, just in my discussions with you, it just seems like it was kind of a slow accumulation of you. You became a fan, you started going to shows, and then you're working for the newspaper, so you're hearing things. You're out on the street, you're hearing from different people. Like, not that you intended to do anything, but I mean, I guess how did it kind of start, or just kind of snowballed into what you
yeah,
know of?
there was a guy by the name of Billy Smith who was a huge Springsteen collector, and Stephen Bumble. And
I know Steven. I used to know him from
yeah,
Facebook. I don't know.
yeah. And they started the Asbury Park Rock and Roll Museum in 1986, which is way before its time. They were in the Palace Amusements in Asbury Park. Billy was a major Springsteen collector.
What,
Billy,
where the game thing is, the arcade?
yeah. No, the Palace is gone. It's now a parking lot. But
Oh, okay.
it's the Palace from Born to Run, beyond the Palace semi-powered drum. It's where
Oh,
Billy originally was on the side.
okay.
And now the Wonder Bar is painted to look like the Palace. It got torn down in 2004.
Okay.
But Billy and Steven met each other. They were both huge collectors. Billy was way ahead of its time. He realized, oh, there's a place called the Upstage in Asbury. It's been closed, but the glass is still there that says up. I should get that. He did that in like 1978. And he started collecting Bruce stuff. And Billy and I went to high school together, and we were best friends. So I did a lot of his. I got to tell one story. I just thought of this. In a minute, I'll tell this story. So Billy and met Steven, and they were both huge collectors, and they started the Asbury Park Rock and Roll Museum. And Billy moved to Florida in 2002, and he just said, "I'm handing whatever the title over to you now. You like you're the guy." And I mean, just a fun thing, nothing official, of course. But Billy now has really no interest in Bruce. He's in Florida. I said, did you get the going to listen to the new box set? He goes, no. So he sort of shut it all out. But
Wow.
um, that was sort of it, And then I realized too, people come from here from all over the world. I grew up here, so I saw a lot of this stuff. I've seen, I've run into Bruce in restaurants and Southside Johnny in restaurants. I know a lot of the history. I witnessed a lot of it. I saw Bruce in a bar for the first time in 1979, playing with Beaver Brown at the
Uh-oh.
Fast Lane in Asbury Park. Um, I was there. I can remember the night because of Bruce Base. January 9th, 1980. There was a band. I was on winter break from my sophomore year at St. John's. Billy Smith told me, he goes, go to the Fast Lane tonight. It's a band called Atlantic City Expressway playing. They do Springsteen and Southside Johnny covers. And so I go in, and this young, energetic lead singer's doing Southside Johnny songs, Bruce songs. And Bruce was in the bar that night. And he jumps on stage and does a little bit of Promised Land, maybe 60 to 90 seconds at the most, and gets off stage. And it was very common to see Bruce in bars then. This was the period between Darkness and the River. It almost all the time he was with Joyce Heiser a lot, who was his girlfriend, the actress. And anyway, about 7 years later, Billy Smith says to me, you were at the Fast Lane that night with a Atlantic City Expressway played, and Bruce jumped on stage and did a little Promised Land. I said, yeah. He goes, you know who the lead singer of Atlantic City Expressway was? I go, no. He goes, that was John Bon Jovi. He was in high school.
Wow.
So I probably saw the first time Bruce and Bon Jovi played together.
Wow. That's crazy.
So a real quick Billy Smith story. I just thought of this. I thought, so we were collectors, Billy more than me. Billy collected a lot. And we used to take day trips up to Coney Island in the off season, though, like September, October, when it's not mobbed. I don't know if you saw the hot dog eating contest was just there. So just because another boardwalk, nostalgic and stuff like that. So we're looking around, and this must have been 1989 or so. And we're looking and we're going toward the boardwalk, and there was this, like, I don't know, spook ride or something with a devil. And we look and we go, oh my God, there's the sign. This is not a dark ride. Now, if you remember the Tunnel of Love tour, if you watch the video, Tunnel of Love, the song, they show that sign. This is not a dark ride. And T-shirts from that tour, even it was sort of a theme. This is not a dark ride.
Hmm.
So we go, there it is. That's what they used for the video. So this is during the day. So we devised a plan. We were going to come back at like 10 o'clock one night. And Billy had wire cutters. I had the getaway car. So he goes out. There's Doberman pinchers, but they're behind the fence. And he gets the side. So we got this side and we drive away. No, there were no cameras then or anything. So, and Billy had, I think he sold the damn thing though, but we had the sign. That was one of our capers. This is not a dark ride. Yeah. Watch that Tunnel of Love video again. You'll see that sign.
Wow.
We had it, but Billy sold it. I don't
Now
know
I
where
gotta
it
go back
is
and watch
now.
the video. I haven't watched that video in a long time. You
Yeah.
said two things that were in that video.
Yeah. They filmed that at the old casino, the part that got torn down that I was telling you. Yep. And part in the Palace Amusements too. So when that, and I don't know. I think we covered a lot. I don't want to bore anybody, but I've been retired since March, and with the knees, I don't go out as much as I'd like to because I have trouble standing a long time, and even trouble sometimes getting up and getting down. Although it's getting a little better, so. But I still enjoy a great night for me is just sitting back watching a movie. I just watched the Led Zeppelin documentary. I don't know if you saw that,
I
Becoming
saw
Led
that in the
Zeppelin.
theater, and the
Yeah.
sound was so good.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I watched on Netflix, but I noticed the sound was incredible, and they got some fantastic footage of them. And really well done. Really good documentary. A lot of great stuff in there.
I'm not a
So,
huge Zeppelin fan, but I appreciate them. But
yeah,
like watching that documentary, it was just so well done.
yeah, learned a bit too. And then the 40th anniversary of Live Aid. I didn't go, but that's kind of neat. And I love looking back at some of the videos and everything from that 40 years ago. Wow.
I've said it 1,000 times. That 22 minutes or whatever, Freddie and Queen was on stage. The best 22
Yeah,
minutes of rock and roll. I don't care who you are, Bruce Springsteen, James Brown, Elvis Presley.
yeah.
Nobody has 100,000 people eating out of the palms of their hand.
That got more legendary after the movie came out, though, too. Yeah. The one that got me was U2. I didn't know much about them at the time. And I remember I taped most of it on a VHS tape because it was a Saturday. I think I was at the beach most of the day. So you could get 6 hours on the tape. Anyway, so I went back and I started watching it. And I remember I'd be doing stuff and the tape's playing. And the one that just stopped me cold was when U2 came on. And they played Bad. I don't know if you remember, he brought a Dancing with a Girl. And I was like, wow, I got to learn more about them. But overall, I mean, it's just what incredible talent. And Bruce did not play. Bruce was not. He
Did
just
he?
got married.
Oh, so I'm assuming he was invited, but he
Oh,
just
yeah.
bowed out because of the marriage.
I think he just got married and he was in the middle of Born in the USA tour. And he's just like, I need a break. So, but what fantastic.
Jessica says highly recommend the documentary Ron Delsener. I don't know who
Oh,
that is.
yeah. Ron Delstner. He was a New York promoter. Oh, is that on? I heard about that. Is that on a streaming service? He was a big New York promoter, like Bill Graham was out in San Francisco. He's still alive, I believe. He was the big New York City promoter, Ron
I'll have
Delstner.
to check that out. I do
Yeah.
have to give you kudos to. I'd heard about Hacks. I'd read it was really good, but I just
Ah,
hadn't gotten to it. I started watching it. It's really good.
it's
Like
good.
Gene Smart is excellent.
Yeah.
Hannah Einbender is
Yeah.
fantastic. It's just really well done.
Yeah, that was the story I think I told. I was out in LA seeing Bruce April of 2024. And I don't know if you know Rich Russo. He works with Little
Yeah,
Steven and
yeah.
stuff. And they said, we're going to this comedy club. Do you want to come? And it was it wasn't an actual club. It was a small, like, theater, maybe no more than 200 seats. And it was Judd Apatow's and Friends, a benefit. And I'm like, yeah. And um, I can't think of his name again. It drives me crazy. But the first guest is, One
Seth
of the major,
Rogen or one of his guys, one of Judd Apatow's guys?
no, not even Judd Apatow. He's the major comedians, hosted Saturday Night Live 5 times. And why can't I think of his name? I watch his show live in L.A. Everybody's
Patrick
live in L.A.
Patrick Mulaney, John Mulaney,
John Mulaney. Thank you.
John Mulaney.
I always draw a blank on him. John Mulaney. So we're in this little theater, and not no one would expect the first comedian out is like one of the biggest ones in the world, John Mulaney. And then the second one was Hannah Einberger.
Wow.
I wasn't watching Hacks at the time, and it didn't really mean much to me. And now that I'm watching, I'm like, holy shit, you saw her in this little theater. I mean, first John Mulaney and then her. And it's like, yeah, but now I'm watching Hacks. I'm on the 3rd season. It's really funny. It's really good. I love because they film in Vegas too. That's kind of neat.
I started something. I love Mark Maron's podcast, which apparently he's ending.
Yeah.
Shit, he's been doing it for X amount of years now. He's done. But there's a new show out on Apple called Sticks with Owen Wilson playing like a disgruntled ex-pro golfer that's gone down the bad road, and Mark Maron plays his caddy. But it's pretty good. I'm only 2 episodes into it, but if you got time, check it out. It's called
I will.
Sticks.
I like watching, and then it's usually good because like The Bear. I don't know if you watched The Bear. The whole 4th season was all there. You could watch them one right after the other. They played Tougher Than the Rest, Emmylou Lou Harris's version, episode 7, which was like this great episode. So I don't want to spoil it in case people haven't seen it, but very well done.
I thought it was done, but Fred said the other day that they've done a 5th, or they're going to do a 5th season. And I said,
Yeah,
"What's the quality?" And he said, "Quality was just as excellent at the
yeah,
end as it was when they started." So
yeah. I like listening to Fred. He's it's got energy. Fred's got energy, even at 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning or whatever it is. Yeah, Fred's got energy talking
he,
about movies.
he's definitely an East Coaster. He's got that Jersey Italian attitude, the way of looking at things, but
Yes.
he's actually a teddy bear underneath. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Ryan, you're busy. You're going to be on again. I'm going to wake up tomorrow, and there you'll be, I guess.
Well, tomorrow is my birthday, and I will be
Oh,
streaming.
happy
I will be
birthday.
streaming.
July
Some
15th. That was my mother's birthday.
Oh,
Wow.
really? Well,
Yep.
I'm glad to share a birthday with your mom.
Yeah. And how old? Can we ask how old you are? Let me guess. You're 57?
Ooh, 51.
Oh, you're young. You're a kid. You're a
I got
kid.
plenty of time left.
You got plenty of time left. Get that 401k growing, though. Don't touch that 401k. It's the best advice I give to people. It's like, I started that, the Asbury Park Press, 1989. It was like, oh, giving me money, and I never touched it, fortunately. And it's like, now, 99, 2009, 2009, 35 years later, like, whoa, nice nest egg. So I don't know if you're still, best. Do that.
Wait,
Wow.
I hate to ask, but how old are you?
65. I'm an
So
old
are
guy.
you on Social Security yet, or are you not eligible
I
yet?
haven't taken it yet, but I did go on Medicare. So which is kind of nice because it's good. I still have to pay a bit, but I probably not going to take my Social Security till I'm 67 if I live that long. So
I know there's a huge difference, or not huge, but
yeah,
a pretty sizable difference if you take it to 64 or before you're
right.
67.
You have a choice. I mean, it's kind of nice that it's there, and you got to take it by 70. So I'm 5 years away, but time flies if you think about it. Gosh, we were in Tampa, the tour opener, February 1st, 2023. That's what, 30 months ago already, which is 2 years and a half. So Ryan was in his 40s. You're a kid, Ryan. Oh, I didn't know that.
I've aged so much in these last 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Oh, so a question I had for you. I know there weren't streamers at all the shows, but pretty much of them. Any thoughts on some of the shows that were better than others, or your favorite shows that you had from the European tour?
Um, I liked Liverpool, obviously, because Paul McCartney came out. Some of it, though, yeah, I always say it's not a criticism, but you almost knew what was coming next most of the time. And, it's great, and the streamers bring it, and the band is good. That's great, but, once he got to, like, Because the Night, you basically know what the next 10 songs are going to be, which is fine. But, no, I don't know if one stood out. I will say, and this isn't a knock on San Siro, I know the crowd was, I guess San Sebastian, the crowds were incredible. And San Siro, I know they were too. It was kind of neat with everything. But I don't know, again, it's not a criticism, but it's like I don't know if anyone's going to go and say, "Oh my God, the last two shows at Sincera were two of the best of Bruce's career," anything like that. Where people talk about like the final show of 2016, which was at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, or the Mohegan Sun shows in 2014. You know, were there, and I can't even remember what closed the tour in 2012, but
I think Ireland. He was is 2013. They
yeah,
finished in Ireland. That's when he played that version of This Hard Land.
right, right. So, don't get me wrong, they're great shows, but I just don't know when people do their top 10 list or of their all-time great Bruce shows, if that's going to be there. That's all I'm saying. You were there, so you tell me. What did you think?
I would say this. I don't think you and I have talked since I got back, but for 15 years, starting with Dave Marsh on East Street Radio. Oh, the European crowds, the European crowds. They're so great. They're so much better than U.S. crowds. And it kind of pissed me off. I'm like, fuck you. Like, don't tell me that. So for like 15 years, I've been hearing this, and I went, for a lot of different reasons. I wanted to see them at least once overseas. A lot of friends were going last tour, last show of the tour. I went honestly after night one, and I apologize for people that have heard me say this 10 times, but this I'm telling you. After the first show, I was in the pit. We were back on the left side, on the Nils side. We had some space around us, so we weren't packed. I thought this was a good crowd, but I'd seen better in Cleveland and Philly and MSG, or sorry, MetLife.
Hmm.
But after night two, Graham and I were, my son joined me. We were up in the seats in the first bowl and looking down at the crowd in the pit, seeing everybody jumping up and the arms and everything. I thought, this is pretty damn good. But to your
Yeah.
point, I'd put it in my top 10,
Hmm.
but I've seen a lot better crowds and a lot better shows in other places here in the United States. So,
Yeah.
but I've heard many people say if you want to really see them, you'd have to see them in Spain because the fans in Spain are like just absolutely bonkers.
Yeah. Well, let me show you what I just got. These are bootlegs. So, the guy emailed me, puts together Blu-rays, but I don't know if you can see. This is, I know it's reversed, but highlights of the 2024 tour. All different songs there. I haven't watched it yet.
Oh wow.
And 2023 tour. Oh my gosh, there's 55 songs on here. Different songs that they did.
Hmm,
So,
interesting.
and what is this one? Oh, this is cool. This was the final show before Bruce got sick, September 3rd, 2023 at MetLife Stadium. So I'm looking forward to watching that. And then it's 2023 collection, multicam, about 15 songs on here, different songs from Europe. So my viewing, check it out. Then they also put one for See Here Now. But you know what they did is, I was thinking of you. They Outlaw Pete streamed it that night. Pete Mamone, the See Here Now show last September. So they took his download and put it on a Blu-ray. So it's not bad. I'm not criticizing it. It's not bad, but you hear Pete singing along.
Right.
I was all excited. This guy gave me his list. I said, oh, I got to See Here Now. It's in color. So I put it in. I was all excited. It's like, all right, this is the live stream. I thought you'd put together there's a lot of great YouTube clips, and it's like, so can't complain the bootlegs, but that was something. So when are you coming in for the serenade? What
I think I'm
it's
coming in on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. So, and I'm leaving on Monday, so I've got some time. So you and I will chat and
yeah, I'd like you to
maybe.
come over and see my stuff here. And um I don't know what else. I don't think I'm going to go see Tramps Like Us on Friday. Nothing against them, they're great. It's just I don't do well standing and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So,
I get it.
and the serenade,
Alice said, "Did you see Eddie Mannion's post today?" I don't
I
know what
didn't
that.
I didn't see Eddie's post.
Alice, I will have to check it out. I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, no trivia tonight though. So,
You've had plenty of trivia about the life of
yeah.
Stan Goldstein.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me on. Thank you. And
No,
hello.
I had never thought about it. Like
Yeah.
you and I are like talking all the time, so I never thought
Yeah.
about.
I
Oh,
hope
I
I
never
didn't
talked
bore
to
people.
Stan about his life.
Yeah, I hope I didn't bore people. So, and
No,
hello to Alexandra if she's watching the next day. So I said to her, she was messaging me today. She goes, that's 2 a.m. my time, right? I said, yeah. It's like, I said, we'll probably mention you once or twice or three times. So, hello, Alexandra.
hello, Alexandra.
Yeah, hello, Alexandra. But we'll see you down the road. Yes. How about the Capitol Theater 15 years ago? I wasn't there. I did go to the Palladium, though, the final show at the Palladium in 78. People don't remember there were three shows at the Capitol Theater in Passaic, New Jersey. But there were three shows at the Palladium, which was a theater on 14th Street in Manhattan, right before that. And I did see one of those. And he played Incident in the Rosie that night, I remember.
I,
And
I've asked you this before, but just to clarify, give me three or four of your top shows that you would pick for that area, for the tri-state area.
Philadelphia, August 11th of 2003 at the Eagles Stadium, Lincoln Financial Field. That night, it was really before sign request, and it was the third of three shows at this Lincoln Financial Field. And he went off the rails that night. He pulled that Pretty Flamingo. He did I'm Going Down. I mean, stuff he hadn't played in years. And someone had a sign for I'm Going Down. It's before he really did sign requests. And I remember he said to Clarence, he goes, I think there's a sax solo in here somewhere. So just very, very, it's unfortunate they don't have these rising shows on Nugs. But that was just an incredible night. The rain show, the birthday show at the Meadowlands in 2012. That was incredible. That's when it was delayed. They didn't start till 10:40 and ended at 2 a.m. I was there with Obi that night, so that was pretty exciting too. And what else? There's been a lot.
See Here Now, I think you said.
See Here Now, yeah, definitely up there. See Here Now has been up, and it's people ask me my favorite tour. It was '84, the indoor part of the Born in the USA tour. He was on fire. I mean, he was in 1985 also at the stadium leg. But the arena leg, he played 10 nights at the Meadowlands that year in July and August of 1984. And the final show, August 20th of 84. That was incredible. That's they've released on Nugs. And Steve played with him that night. And that was incredible. But just to see how powerful that was when he came out and opened with Born in the USA, it was like, oh my God. Yeah, he was as big as Taylor Swift is now. I mean, he's big now, but just, Taylor Swift is huge. That's how big Bruce was back then. And to see the indoor, the energy and everything, it was just, wow. I'd seen him on the Darkness tour, I'd seen him on the River tour, but now this is like, we're at DEF CON 25 now. It's like, so. That was
Other than Bruce, give me like your top three performers that you've seen live.
Oh, well, it's a good one. Tony Bennett, which I like. I liked it. People will laugh, probably haven't heard of the Manhattan Transfer. Have you ever
I've heard the
of them?
name, but I don't know their music.
Yeah. I
Is
used
it
to see them
jazz, like modern jazz?
Yeah, they did Boy from New York City and stuff like that. Vocalese, they called it. Billy Joel, I've seen quite a few times. U2. I'm seeing Rod Stewart this Friday at the Garden State Arts Center.
He's coming here. I've never seen Rod Stewart. I think I want to go. Is he doing the songbook stuff, or is he doing rock music?
He's doing his hits and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Go see Rod Stewart. Yeah. So, but gosh, there's been a lot, and I'd have to think. It's like I don't have a list or anything like that, but it's.
But you've had quite. I mean, you said you got quite the eclectic choice of music, but you've seen a lot of different Liberace, the
Barry
Osmonds,
Manilow.
the Carpenters.
I've probably seen Barry Manilow 10 times. Did see the Carpenters once. Yep. Barry's always good. That's what
I've seen Barry. I saw Barry at the Illinois State Fair. It's not the greatest venue, but I saw him. He put on a hell of a show.
Yeah.
Ladies were excited.
Yep. They always are. Even though he's gay and married, but hey.
I can't tell if they want to love him, they want to mother him. Like, I don't know what the...
And trying to see who I've seen in Vegas. Barbara
Alice is asking, you ever see Barbara Streisand?
I've seen Barbara 3 times, yes.
How was that?
Barbara's great. Barbara. Legend.
She have a big orchestra with her? Or what kind of band is she?
Okay. She had Marvin Hamlisch directing the orchestra too.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Seen James Taylor a few times, saw Linda Ronstadt. My bucket list is Carole King. I never saw Carole King.
Really? Just never had the opportunity, or?
I just never pulled the trigger when she was playing. And I guess, I saw the play Beautiful, which is fantastic, the musical, but I don't know if I'll have a chance. I guess she's in her 80s, but I'd like to see Carole King. And yeah, I'd have to think. I don't even know if I have a list. Like, I don't know how many Bruce shows I've been to. That's never been important to me or others. I know some people, oh, the 322 shows. Okay, good. Doesn't mean you're any better than the person
Right.
who's seen them once or none.
Could be your
So,
first show, could
yeah,
be your 500 show. It doesn't
right.
matter. Doesn't make you any better of a fan.
Yep, yep. Joni Mitchell. I never saw Joni. Never saw Joni. Saw Frankie Valli a few times. Just saw Frankie. Not till still going strong. 91. Yes.
I was shocked. Somebody said that they put on a good show, and not knocking him, but I just didn't
Yeah,
realize he was even still playing.
yeah. So I've seen Jackson Brown a few times, and that's always exciting. So
One of the maddest times I've ever been at a show was at Jackson. He was playing in the Chicago Theater, which is about a 5,000 seat
yeah,
theater here, probably equivalent to the Beacon. And he's talking, he's pretty mellow that night, but he's playing and stuff. And like he's talking or telling stories in between. People are like yelling songs out, and I'm like, shut up, he's not a
shut up.
jukebox. They were just being rude about it. Like it wasn't fun. I was getting really pissed.
Bruce used that line once. I'm not a jukebox. People were, yeah, I think it was on the Joe tour actually. Yeah, he just, I'm not a jukebox. Shut up. Ryan, I should let you go. We
Yes,
still got
sorry.
12 people watching. Thank you.
You've
No,
got
thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. I hope I didn't bore people
no,
with
you
that.
didn't.
But I'll probably think of two other things I wanted to say or anything. So,
Well, keep a notebook.
speaking of the Jacksons, I did see the Jackson Victory Tour in 1984. Michael Jackson, those Jacksons, too.
Wow.
So,
Was it all the Jackson family?
yeah, yeah. Saw Madonna. When I worked at the Garden, I got to see a lot of shows. Elton John, and I've seen Cher a few times. Saw Bette Midler once. Chuck Mangione I used to see in the 80s. You're too young for Chuck
Chuck
Mangione.
Mangione, is that like big band,
Nah,
brass?
horns player feels so good and stuff like that. A little bit different. So thank you, Alice. Great interview. I appreciate that. Thank you. That's kind.
Stan is a wealth of information.
I try. I try. So, all
He
right.
says he worked with Michael Jackson. Did you ever see Prince?
I did see Prince once at the
How
Meadowlands.
was
Very,
that?
very good.
When
Fantastic.
when was that? Purple Rain or
No, 2004 maybe. Around 2004 at the Meadowlands. So 2000, I think it was Gene Mickle and I went 2004 or so. And I got to see U2 in Ireland. That was good. So, and
speaking of Prince, Dave Grohl told this great story that I'd never heard before. Uh, Dave was out in L.A. and Prince was playing at the Spectrum or whatever the Spectrum or whatever where the Lakers play. Um,
the Forum. Yeah.
Forum, sorry.
Yeah.
He was playing like 8 nights or something. And Dave, one of Dave's techs or crew worked for Prince as well. And like ahead of time, uh, the guy calls Dave and says, "Hey man, Prince wants you to come down and play with him." And Dave's like, "Whoa, like I don't know if I can do that." Like even though he's a maker star, like he didn't know if he was worthy to be on stage with Prince. Anyway, he goes down the first night before the show and nothing happens. He doesn't get a call, whatever. And like the third night in, Dave's there early, and all of a sudden there's Prince, and he's like, "Hey, let's go up on stage and we'll run through some stuff." And Dave got on drums, and Prince is playing. They started jamming on like a Led Zeppelin song or something, and they had a little conversation afterwards. And Prince took his number, and Dave got his number, and like Prince was like, "Oh yeah, I'll have you on," and it just kept going, like one show after the other, just kept going, and it never happened. And it was like, wait a minute, what did we just do? Like we set it up that we were gonna play, and Prince was just a weird cat, man. Like he was
Yeah.
off in his own world.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all right, Ryan, we're what, an hour 45, but we got 10 people still watching. Thank you, whoever you are.
It's been
Appreciate
fascinating. You
it.
got all kinds of comments, so you haven't
Good.
bored anybody.
All right. Thank you, Ryan, for having me. I appreciate
All
it. You
right,
do a
Stan.
great job. I admire, like I said, you had a Saturday night special. You were on with Pierre from France. I think that was his name. It's like worldwide. You had Liz on from Italy, and you're all over the place. So I try to turn you on sometimes in the morning and listen, and so you wake me up. You're like my alarm clock. So
Hey,
well,
at least I
good.
can do something.
Happy birthday!
Thank you, sir.
Happy birthday! You're young, yeah, but we'll get together when you're here.
Sounds
Uh,
good. We'll talk.
Definitely do that.
All
So,
right.
all
Thanks,
right.
Stan.
Thank
Have a good
you.
night.
You
Have a good
too.
night.
Bye bye.
Well, there he goes, Mr. Goldstein. St. John's alumni, alumni of Neptune High School, along with Gary. Lynn, I saw your question earlier. Stan Gary and Southside would have graduated in like whatever, 64, 65. Stan, it sounds like he graduated in like 75, 76, somewhere in that area. So he would have been young. He's younger than Gary and Southside. Thank you, Jeff Griffin. Thank you, Chris Olds. Jessica, I will check out that documentary you suggested. Introducing, what'd you say, Doc? No, type that in again, Jessica, please. Oh, yeah, okay. Stan would have graduated in 79. Uh, they would have graduated in like 64, 65. So he was 14, 15 years younger than them. Thank you, Alice. All right, I am out of here. Have a good night. I will be back on tomorrow morning for my birthday. Some people that I know may have ganged up on me and created a special day for me. I got a lot of cards. I've got a big box on my kitchen table. I've got some other packages. So I don't know who the elves were, but some elves put together a special day for me. So I will be opening letters and cards and presents tomorrow morning. All right. Everybody have a good night. I will see you in the morning. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to Stan Goldstein for talking to us. The stripper is at 9 with coffee. Yes, I know, Chris. I saw that. I registered 3 hours until the big 5-1. Love it. Thank you, Anne. Yes, Chris, I registered for tickets today. I don't know if I'll get but the pre-sale happens tomorrow. So maybe with any luck, I get to buy tickets for Paul. We will see. Paul McCartney is coming to United Center for 2 shows in November. I asked Rory and she wants to go, so I would like to get 2 tickets. If I have any birthday wish, it's that I get a pre-sale code, and not only that, I'm able to buy 2 tickets. I registered 2. Nice. We'll see if we actually, I think we all get a code, but whether we can actually get tickets or not is, we shall see. There was 2 shows in Chicago, one in Des Moines, one in Minneapolis, maybe 2 in Minneapolis. Kind of a small tour, about 20 shows. Bev, did you register for Des Moines, I'm assuming? The light in here is weird. Yes, my nose, it happened again. I got some sun on my nose on Saturday while I was umpiring, and it happened again. So I apologize. It was either this or a Band-Aid, and I figured I'm just going to let it roll, and it is what it is. Bev, I wish you luck. I hope you get a pre sale code. I hope you get tickets. If I don't get a pre-sale code and I'm one way or the other, I'm going. I'm going to go see Paul. I've seen him twice now. I saw Paul at Wrigley Field. I saw Paul at MetLife, so I've seen him twice. I'd like to see Rory. I'd like to take Rory to go. All right, I am out. Thank you for joining us tonight. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Arrivederci. Bon voyage.